Welcome to Positive Energy with Crystals. My name's Hillary, and today we are talking about Labradorite. This is part of my monthly work with the crystal, research it, learn about it, and then tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, what I learned, how it went, all of that. So in December of 2024, I carried this piece of Labradorite for the whole month. And this is the piece I had. And then I also have this piece, and I said in my Blue Calcite video that if I hadn't gotten this piece, I probably would have carried this one. Just because this one's a little bit bigger. And I also, it's a little bit heavier, and I carry it in my pocket every day, and I don't like, I'm okay usually with heavy crystals in my pocket, but I was a little worried that I would also damage this, because look at how pretty it is. I love it. So this one goes in my travel bag, which is this right here. This is all the crystals that anytime we go on any sort of road trip, oh, I may have to switch it out. Sorry, got distracted. Anytime we go on a road trip or vacation or anything, this bag goes in my travel bag that I carry. That's got like maps, stuff written down, snacks, dog treats, stuff like that. The bag that I have near me, that goes in there, and then that way I can pull out certain crystals if I need to, or just carry this pouch is what I usually do. If we were just going out for a day trip, I'll just grab this and shove it in the glove compartment of whatever vehicle we're taking too. But this piece lives in there. And you can see it's not as flashy. This is the very first piece I've gotten. There's a little bit of flash right in there. If I hold it just right. I don't think the camera's getting it. Oh, there it was a little bit. Anyway, this piece lives in there. But I don't like to carry it for the month. I don't like the idea of pulling it out of the pouch saying, okay, don't do this job anymore. Forget this intention. Focus on me for a month. And then at the end of that month, say, okay, we're done. Go back to your original job. It just doesn't feel right to me when this has been dedicated to this pouch for like, I don't know, 6-7 years or so, maybe more. It just doesn't feel right. That'd be like taking this piece of amethyst out of here. This is my daily carry bag. I don't know if I've told you before. Don't use these bags for daily carry. These strings drive me crazy. I hate these bags. I've only got one more bag after this, and then I'll find new ones. Anyway, distracted again. It'd be like taking this piece of amethyst that has been my daily carry amethyst to help with anxiety and just daily frustrations. It'd be like taking it and saying, okay, you are not going to focus on me, even though you've been focusing on me for 10 years or more. You're going to do this other job for a little bit, and then you're going to come back and focus on me. And it just doesn't feel right. And I know this piece would just, I don't think it could do it. It's been focused on me for so long and keeping me calm that I don't think it could ever do a different job. So anyway, I didn't want to do that to this piece. I also have some chips, but they're kind of small and they're hard to see on camera, so I'm not going to pull them out. And then I've got a big piece that I absolutely love, and I can't wait to get out of storage. But it's going to have to wait until we have a house. Anyway, so what I did is I worked with it for the month, researched it, and then I come back and tell you guys what. Now remember, don't replace medical advice from medical professionals or any medications with crystals. Use crystals to help that advice and help those medications work better. And also, our experiences may be different. What I feel with Labradorite may be something totally different for you. So in November of 2024, I worked with Blue Calcite. And if you haven't watched that video, you should watch it before this one, because it was intense, and it was a unique experience. And Labradorite was the perfect crystal to follow up with. I was a little worried because I've wanted to work with Labradorite for a while now. And I was a little worried after that experience with the Blue Calcite that it was going to affect, it was so intense. I was afraid it was going to affect my results or experience with the Labradorite. But instead, I think the Labradorite was the perfect crystal. And I'll get into that in here in a minute, but I'm so happy that I worked with the Labradorite in December following the Blue Calcite. Let's see. I think that's all the intro stuff I needed to go over. So, in my, I've got these cards in here with, this is all the research I've done over years on all the crystals I own. Everything in, these are, every crystal I own and all the research I've done on it, properties and everything. So the very first line under Labradorite is, it's the best stone for fighting off an existential crisis. I don't remember where I copied that from. It was probably a Judy Hall book or something. And it explains my experience with it perfectly. So I had so much going through my head after working with the Blue Calcite in November. You got to watch that video to understand it. Labradorite helped me organize all of that intense overload and thoughts, and it organized it and helped me process it and figure out what to do with all of it. It was amazing. I am so happy that I worked with Labradorite in December after working with Blue Calcite in November. It was perfect. So Labradorite is calming. It's a different calming than my amethyst. It's hard to explain. Labradorite it's similar but also different. It helps with anxiety and stress, but it just feels like a different calming to me, and I don't know how to explain it. I definitely instantly felt calmer when I started carrying it, and actually I started carrying it and just kind of had that calm feeling, and actually went to my research cards to see if calming was one of the properties of Labradorite, or if it was just that I wasn't carrying the Blue Calcite anymore and I just kind of was able to relax. But it's one of the properties. So in December I was processing the Blue Calcite experience. And I also had to finish planning a trip to Colorado for Christmas. And then we went on the trip, and of course everybody lives, a car ride away from each other. So we were on the road. We were gone for 4 days, and we were on the road for 3 of those days. So a trip like that being so short and having to drive pretty much every day, and with it being short, and we want to make sure all the important people got visited, and so it was a well-planned trip, and I never felt that crazy, oh my god, we're running late. It was more like, we'll be okay. And it was still stressful. I'm not going to say it wasn't. But I was able to kind of relax more and just go with the flow a little bit more. Also, I think it helped me to kind of stop and think through all the decisions and figure out timing and making sure you know, all the important visits were made. You know, it kind of helped me check off the important stuff and plan it all out, and just kind of the stuff that wasn't important, just kind of go with the flow on it. It's hard to explain. So, Labradorite also helps with intuition. This was definitely an interesting experience for me. And I think because of this experience, this heart piece, I am going to pull out and use a lot for divination work. And I'll explain that here in a minute. The large piece I have in storage, when I can finally get it out of storage, it's going to go wherever I designate as like my thinking spot or divination spot in our house when we get it. It's going to go in that area. You know, the area that where I just kind of sit down and figure things out, whether it's, you know, living room couch or like a special corner where I can just sit and think. It's going there because it definitely helped. So Labradorite helps channel clairvoyance, your clairvoyance power, helps recall past lives, helps with psychic abilities, and improve intuition. So that intuition, I've kind of depended on, you know, that gut feeling for a lot of things. When we were selling our house in Colorado, I had depended on my gut a lot through that process. And if I didn't feel good about something, it became a big deal. And if I was okay with something, it just kind of went with the flow. And so I depended on that a lot during that process. And during that process, I had this heart piece in the manifestation bowl for the whole selling the house and moving process. So I think that helped that then too. But also, my divination practice in December really, there was a lot of big moments for me. And I believe having this on me all the time, this piece, I think that made a huge difference. So, this oracle deck. Now, I am a very novice tarot, oracle, all that reader. I only read for myself, occasionally for my husband, very, very rarely for like a family member. Not all my family knows I do that. I think really it's just been my sister a couple times. And this deck I love. I fell in love with. If you have a tarot channel and you showed this on your channel anytime between like September and like October, you're probably one of the reasons I bought this deck, so thank you. But I loved it because, I don't know if you can see on here, this card especially, it's got that like painterly style, and that's what made me fall in love with it. So I bought it like end of October or so, and I tried using it, and I just, you know, it's got the, I guess it'd be kind of the card name on there, and I just wasn't really connecting with it that much. And then, you know, even with the guidebook is really good. I really like the guidebook. I depend on that guidebook. But I just wasn't really connecting with it as much as I wanted to. It's beautiful. I love it, and I wanted to connect with it so bad. I wanted this to be like my oracle deck that I go to for, not advice, because I have a deck for that I've already connected with over the years, but like for everything else, just to kind of give me, I don't know, something. And I just wasn't connecting with it until I had the Labradorite with me. And then in December, you know, after the whole Blue Calcite thing, this deck answered so many questions and just made me feel better about so many things. And the Labradorite helped me connect with this deck more. and help me understand it more. And I now use it, like, we just had a full moon, and I use it for my full moon readings now. And when I did that, I made sure I had a piece of Labradorite out with it. I may just store a piece of Labradorite with this deck eventually, because I think it helped. So if you haven't bought the Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle, I highly recommend it. That and a piece of Labradorite. But anyway, I love it. I love the artwork part of it. It just, it makes me feel good now. After I figured out how to connect to it. Also, I love pendulums because, you know, they're crystals. By the way, if you have, like, I'll show you. I have all these pendulums, and I got tired of them getting tangled up with each other. But if you got these organza bags, it is so nice. They just come out, and the chains aren't tangled up. But anyway, that's not the point of this. But just so you know. So I love pendulums, but I've never really connected to them very much. This is my Kimbaba Jasper that I've had for almost a year. February will be a year. And I've wanted to use this pendulum for more than just like the normal, you know, yes and no stuff. And my husband makes these pendulum boards for me. They've got the numbers on the inside here and then the letters on the outside. And then I also have another version where it's got the yes and no thing down here. But I'm okay with the yes and no. So I've wanted to connect more with this. And in December, I did. And I think it wasn't just that the intuition part of the Labradorite helped with that, but I think the calming part, it calmed me down, gave me the patience to actually, because when it does it, it doesn't go, you know, doesn't go up to like the letter and make it very, you know, obvious what letter it's pointing at. It kind of swings, and you gotta kind of figure out where it keeps hitting. And then once you recognize which letter, then it changes to a different letter and goes from there. There was one reading, or one experience I had with it. It was amazing. It was answering questions, and it was so much fun. And I'm going to do more work with this. And I think having the Labradorite somewhere nearby is helpful. It just made my brain calm down to focus on what was going on, and gave me the patience to pay attention to what the pendulum was doing, and to figure out what was going on. It was amazing. I loved it. So, if you're trying out a new divination practice, I highly recommend having a piece of Labradorite nearby. Also, if you would like one of these pendulum boards, check the link in the description to my White Tiger Emporium Etsy shop, and you can get it there. Anyway, okay, next, for travel. Like I said, I've had this piece in my travel pouch for a really long time. It was one of the first crystals I actually added to that pouch. It helps you meet helpful people along your journey. And that doesn't just mean your like travel journeys. It could just be your journey in life. And it helps build harmonious relationships. Once again, not just on your travels, but your life too. And we've definitely met some helpful people along our travels. And I think the Labradorite has helped with that. It's also calming, protection, and again, intuition, which I think you really need to focus on when you're traveling. And I don't know, I just all of a sudden felt very calm. So like I said, this piece, as soon as I'm done with this video, it'll go back in the pouch. Labradorite helps with change. I used it a lot when we were getting ready to move to a different state because it is so good with transitioning and dealing with change. It helps with strength and perseverance to deal with the change, and helps banish fears and insecurities and strengthens faith in self and trust in the universe. And when you're making a big move, big life change, that's important. It's also considered stone of destiny, aligning you with synchronicities. I can't say that word all of a sudden. Synchronistic events that line up in your favor. Suddenly coincidences begin to happen. That definitely happened while traveling. So we've got some good friends, and it just so happened, so those friends we considered family, and it just so happened that their kids and most of their grandkids were also going to be in the area at the same time, and we're good with them too. And moving to a different state, we didn't think we'd ever see them again, but we saw pretty much all of them on that trip, and it was awesome. And it lined up to that the night we got there, everybody was available. And I think there were 15 of us, and there were only 2 people missing from that group. It was amazing. And just, our timeline worked out, and I think that definitely helped, especially on that trip. Labradorite helps with imagination, creativity, and inspiration. It stimulates mental activity. So my Grinch and Scooby-Doo videos, if you haven't seen those yet, you have to go watch those. They're both amazing. The idea sort of started end of November to do those videos, and then figuring it all out and planning it and recording it all happened in December. I'm so happy with how well those videos are doing, because that means I get to keep doing those types of videos. They're so much fun. Plus, it gives another example of real life figuring out which crystals to choose to work with. These videos give you a monthly focus on a crystal. Those actually give like real life, even though it's a fictional character, but it gives like a real life example. Also, I was working on my crystal journal a lot, and hopefully I'll be able to share a video about that. I don't know if I'll have it by February, maybe March, hopefully February. But I love how it's turning out so far, and Labradorite is the first crystal that I fully used for the month with that journal. I was figuring it all out with Blue Calcite, but the Labradorite I used the whole process with, and it worked out perfectly, and I'm very excited to use it. Let's see. Labradorite is supposed to help treat disorders of eyes and the brain. I didn't notice any of that. My eyesight is still bad, and my stigmatism is still annoying. So, but I'm sure you'd have to work with it for more than a month for something like that. All the health type stuff, I think really you need more than a month for a crystal to start really working. So in conclusion, I love Labradorite. I will definitely use it more. It's good for daily carry, putting in a manifestation bowl, putting in a travel pouch, jewelry, decoration, all the uses. I'm going to use it more in my divination practice and even my spirituality practice. I can't wait to have my large piece out of storage along with all my others. But I'm very, very, very happy with Labradorite. And, sometimes when I work with the crystal for a month, sometimes it's just like, it's a good crystal, like the Blue Calcite. It's a good crystal, but I don't want to daily carry it. This I would definitely daily carry anytime. I never even thought about keeping it as all the time daily carry, but I don't want too many pieces with me all the time. So January 2025, I am working with citrine. So this will be the first crystal for 2025. January is usually when Oklahoma gets too cold to be outside much. And when you're living in a camper, it, you gotta keep windows covered mostly, and you kind of feel cooped up, especially because it's a small space. You can't go outside much because it's so cold. And so I felt like I need a sunshiny crystal to work with. And already worked with Bumblebee Jasper. And so citrine was my next choice. But if the citrine doesn't help, I will pull out my Bumblebee Jasper, because I know last year, January, I did kind of get a little down, and didn't even, I wasn't in the mind to think that about pulling a sunshiny type crystal. And I've already noticed it helping, but we'll get into that. But if this one doesn't help, I'll go ahead and pull out my Bumblebee Jasper too, because I know that one will do a good job. But I'm very happy with it so far. So anyway, I've used citrine for manifestation work, so this is kind of exciting to actually use it in different ways. If you have any questions about the Labradorite or even citrine that I can answer next month, put those in the comments and I'll answer as many as I can. And if you have an experience with Labradorite, share it down in the comments or join the Positive Energy with Crystals Facebook group. And if you've got pictures of your Labradorite you'd love to share in that group, I love looking at the different shapes and flashes that Labradorite comes in. I just love looking at pictures of Labradorite. So if you have any pictures you'd like to share, then share them. My camera shut off because it said it was too hot, so I gotta make this quick. Like I'm saying, if you share those pictures in that group, put your questions in the comments or experiences in the comments, and share them in that group too if you want to. And I will see you next time.